Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. Zooming in on a topic that I receive a tremendous amount of requests on, and that is to look at the covert narcissist and codependent relationship dynamic, and to kind of explore the different qualities, how that match is essentially set up. So realize that the covert narcissist generally presents very docile in the beginning of a relationship. So really kind of soft-spoken, not really outlandish, not very outwardly gregarious. Although they might be sociable, they're, could tend to be a little bit socially inept. Not a lot of verbal communication, not a big talker perhaps, but yet intelligent, accomplished, very high functioning, holding down employment, things of this nature, is able to be, fairly self-responsible. And really the covert narcissist, though, this kind of very placid exterior that you see in the covert narcissist is belayed by underneath a person who really is quite insecure, quite shame-based, meaning they feel that they are inherently flawed. So they don't take certain steps, certain action steps in their life. They more keep a very smug and aloof sort of demeanor, so as to not really have people get to know them. They don't have to get to know their values, if they have any, so you really kind of feel like you don't know this type of person. And the covert narcissist is very drawn to a very strong, usually emotional, sort of female or partner of the opposite sex, and who is, really possesses a great amount of energy, vitality, empathy, meaning they're very nurturing, have a big heart, are willing to do more above and beyond the call of duty in the relationship. So they tend to overproduce their bounds. Will work really diligently and with a very high energy, high sort of passion towards the relationship, and essentially will, in that, not become aware or not cognizant that certain boundaries essentially are being crossed, or certain elements in the relationship are getting out of balance, or that their needs are going unmet. So the codependent is very adept at repressing their own needs. In other words, shutting down their own needs, not needing attention, not needing their viewpoint on things, not able, not being required to speak up and kind of articulate, so they don't get the experience of being able to speak up about things. So there can be, where the codependent and the covert narcissist fit together is really a very snug sort of fit. And it's especially snug, especially in the beginning, when things are really quite move along quite famously, if you will, in terms of how the relationship works. It's the dynamic is such that the woman feels like she's in charge, is often treated like a woman. There's attention, responsibility given, to make decisions for things, a lot of responsibility, and she feels, he or she, depending on how, in this relationship, but, that is really the qualities that are admired in kind of the mate or the match, if you will, of the covert narcissist. So the codependent tends to really become, it really pulls out really the best and worst of the codependent, because they really enjoy being able to take care of others, being there for others, being needed, being nurturing, taking care of those more sentimental, rich qualities which are in the relationship. Generally very good listeners, and very, very much understand really where people are coming from, and will go above and beyond the call of duty in order to provide that sort of care. And the codependent, though, remember, is that the codependent personality type is one who will repress or delay or even forego totally their needs in the relationship just solely to take care of another. So their role becomes essentially gratification, and derived their identity becomes taking care of other people. So they then kind of shortchange themselves. Is kind of the situation that takes place. The codependent doesn't get recognition. The codependent doesn't get to have their own identity. The codependent doesn't get to have their own opinion and feelings and be recognized and be acknowledged for that. They don't get to own basically their own identity. They're essentially an extension of the narcissist. They're an extension of their needs. In other words, they're essentially like an appendage to them. They'll be able to take care of all these different things while the codependent, or I'm sorry, the covert narcissist is able to basically, sit back and, have this codependent do all the work, carry the load, do all the heavy lifting in the relationship, while they kind of get to focus on, things that are more fulfilling or, heighten their status in their egocentric sort of sense and in their self-centered sort of sense and in their selfish sort of way. So it becomes a real kind of dynamic where the selfish needs of the covert narcissist can be satisfied, and the selfless needs, the altruistic needs of the codependent are there, but then it becomes really to a point where the codependent is feeling like, I deserve a little bit more here. Like I'm waking up to this. Like, I really feel like, something is missing, and then they kind of look at their partner and see a kind of gaping gap that occurs. They're like, they realize they're not being met in the middle. So that really is kind of a little bit of an outline of the covert narcissist and codependent relationship. And usually when that relationship starts to get really kind of on, unsteady ground and kind of shaky, and, we get conflict, fighting, combativeness, etc., is when the codependent is usually the one. And these are just terms, people. We're not diagnosing or treating anything here, but I think everybody who's watching kind of knows where they fit in and have seen this transpire. So the codependent is usually generally the one who speaks up and is like, come on now, get your act together here, fella, or get your act together here, gal. You need to step up to the plate. You need to be some accountable. We need to have a little bit of structure here in the relationship. And what about, some of the love coming this way? So it's generally the codependent, the supply, the one who's been kind of used up a little bit, who's the one to usually bring it to their attention. Sometimes the covert can change, the narcissist can change. Generally times they are so, self-centered that they're not really able to see that. But sometimes they can definitely learn if they're a little bit more open to that. So be aware of that dynamic, and definitely realize that it's so important for your needs, for your voice to be heard, for your identity to develop, and really develop that sort of calling that you hear within. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussions, and support.